I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all.
Hello दोस्तों, welcome back to the channel with a new video. So this particular video I thought that I'll record in English because I believe a lot of people, a lot of my audience who belong to the south part of India are not so familiar with Hindi. So I thought let's talk in English, and in fact I feel that this particular video may cater to a wide variety of audience across the globe because the Africa Twin, the KTM 390 Adventure, all these motorcycles are global models. So I believe my part of story may be quite interesting for everyone. By the way, I'm not so great in English. कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, अगर कुछ गलती होता है तो प्लीज़ फॉरगिव. Anyways, coming to the point. So 2 years back, I had actually created a video where I have shared my experience about the Africa Twin and why I bought the Africa Twin. Obviously, first reason was that it was my dream bike. I always wanted to own a big size adventure bike because I had been passing through all the motorcycles below 10 lakhs. I had like ridden a lot of motorcycles at that point of time. I always had this dream of owning a super premium motorcycle, super premium adventure motorcycle. And then there were like a lot of brands, BMW, Honda, and Triumph. A lot of other motorcycles are there which have premium adventure motorcycles, and I'm sure the people who are watching this video, so if you have not yet watched that video 2 years back which I uploaded, then I'm sharing that video in this description. You can always watch that. So in this particular video I'll be talking about why I changed my motorcycle from the Africa Twin to the KTM 390 Adventure. So basically I have already sold my Africa Twin and I bought the KTM 390 Adventure. I'm sure you have seen the video where I have shared the delivery, basically you have seen the delivery video, and I'm sure a lot of people who have been watching my channel for a long time would know that I have bought the KTM 390 Adventure for the second time. So why did I make this decision? So as I said that the big size adventure bikes are always a dream, a part of my dream that I always wanted to own them. But then later on in course of time I started getting this feeling that these are not practical bikes as far as you are staying in India and you're riding to places around India. The main intention of creating this video is that I know a lot of people like me would have this dream of owning bigger bikes. They feel that bigger bikes makes your travel more easier. I just wanted to make you guys understand that what happens when you own a big bike and what are the kind of challenges you will face with those bikes. And at some point of time, even you may realize that a 300 to 400 or 500cc motorcycle would actually be a better bike to own and fulfill your travel dreams. Now, starting with the problems of the bigger bikes. The very first problem that you'll face is handling a heavy bike. When I say that handling a bigger bike, are all the bigger bikes bad? No, not at all. If you're only doing highway trips, only highway, you're sticking to the highways, you're not going down the road, then I think heavy bikes makes totally sense. For example, if you talk about the cruiser motorcycles, if they are heavy, they are more painted, you feel more confident. Same with the adventure motorcycles also, if they are heavy, you also feel your overall ride is comfortable and you feel more confident. But the moment you feel to go down the roads, you feel that you wanted to ride through trails, you wanted to do a little bit of off-roads, just go away from the highway. In that case, the moment you drop the bike, that is where exactly you face a lot of problems. And if it is an adventure ride throughout the day, when you have multiple drops, when you have multiple places where you have to pull your bike out, in that case, you may find this troublesome. So I would actually like to share the story of my friend Sumant, who also shifted from an Africa Twin and he finally went for a KTM 600 or 650, I guess. It's kind of a dirt bike. I mean, it's a road legal dirt bike. I don't know exact CC and all. But yeah, he moved to that. He kind of imported that bike. I don't know how he imported, but he did that. Once what happened, these guys, the friends, they actually went to a jungle, which was I believe which was around 100 or 150 kilometers away from here, mostly around Kanakpura or so. So these guys were riding into the jungle and they were taking all kind of trails and all. At some point of time, they realized that they have lost their way while they were returning back. So they started exploring every way to get out of that jungle, and they were deep into the jungle. It was really a very, very difficult task for them. And the whole day what happened was, because these are all narrow trails, at some point of time they feel that we have taken a wrong route and they have to just U-turn the bikes. They couldn't U-turn, so all of them were busy pulling out every bike and turning them back. and this had happened throughout the day, and they were like totally exhausted. It was totally exhausted, because we also, when we do trail, for example, if you have seen my windmill trail, that was also a narrow trail, and we didn't have any food supplies there, so it was a 35-kilometer trail. It was a 4-5 hours ride, but by the end of that 4-5 hour ride, I was like totally down. Because what happens when you have a heavy bike, you need more energy to do all that you can do very easily on a lighter motorcycle. So that was the first move when Sumant made a move. What happened was they were like stuck in the jungle, and then they have to rescue themselves. It was very difficult. They didn't have signal and all. This keep happening if you're exploring places which doesn't have like normal roads and all. This keeps happening. But that is when he said, Ki Bulu bhai, I'm changing this bike. This is the only reason I wanted to change, because I'm not a guy who is sticking only to the highways. I'm a guy who wanted to explore places which are unexplored also. So that is where I need a light bike, because had it been a case that I didn't have any friends with me, or just one friend with me, just imagine pulling out these heavy bikes would have been a tough task. We would have just simply left the bikes and we have to walk away. So that was the situation. So I kind of agree, because what happened prior to this, if you remember, my first fall on the Africa Twin was on my way to Ladakh. Actually, when we were back from Nubra Valley, it was about 7 p.m. So I was actually riding with Jason Paji and all, and they were all ahead of me. I was about like 1.5 kilometer or 2 kilometer behind them. And so I was then riding, and at one corner there was a little dark patch of road which I felt was watery, slight some water stream or something. But the moment I was taking a turn, the bike actually slipped, because it was black ice. I couldn't notice that. Obviously you can't notice black ice, it always feels like water. It was evening at the time. After I slipped, it was really a tough task to lift that bike, because obviously there is black ice, and I have to pull the bike out from the black ice patch, and then I have to lift it. I had the luggage and all. Somehow I managed to do. After a few moments, again I had a similar kind of experience where the bike totally didn't fall, but I was kind of holding it half of a fall, you can say. It was really tough, because it was a tough terrain. Air pressure is low, so low oxygen, and very cold climate. And there I felt, man, how heavy is this bike? Especially at those kind of challenging places, you find the weight to be double or triple. Now imagine Africa Twin is about like 230 kgs or something, and there are like GS which is about like more than 250 or 60 kgs. Obviously Goldwing is quite heavy, 340 or 350 or 400, I think 430 or something. But the point is, as I said, it's a cruiser. I ride it on the highway, so that's okay. But on adventure bike, you will always want to take it to adventure places. So that is where I had really a big trouble. And then that is when I thought, yeah, definitely I should consider a lighter motorcycle. Then what happened? The next time I had been to the last Ladakh, if you see, I had been with the KTM Pro XP team. So I was riding the 390 Adventure. So prior to this, what I always used to think that with the KTM 390 Adventure was that the low RPM torque is not great on KTM 390 Adventure. But I was so surprised that throughout the trip, I didn't even have one stall at a difficult patch. See, there were stalls when I was like wrong, I was on a wrong gear or something. But when I was like trying to climb, or I was crossing the water crossings, I never had a stall issue. That means you just get used to it. You have to understand the modulation of the clutch and acceleration. In that case, it didn't happen ever. I was scared that I may get some at some point of time if it stalls and I fall down. But not a single time I had a crash or anything. And the KTM 390 Adventure was doing everything that the Africa Twin was doing. I understand the power and torque difference is there, but at the same time, I always felt that I was more confident on the KTM 390 Adventure only because of the weight. That 30-40 kgs or 50 kgs, whatever the difference is, I don't actually remember the exact weight of 390 Adventure, but the moment you sit on both the bikes, and just understand, the KTM 390 Adventure has a taller seat compared to the Africa Twin, but still, because of the narrow profile and less weight, I could manage to climb everything. I was so confident, you won't believe. That is the point when I decided, यार ऐसी क्या चीज़ है जो अफ्रीका ट्विन कर सकता है and the KTM 390 Adventure can't do it. That was the first reason I thought, यार I should downgrade myself and go for a a lighter motorcycle like the KTM 390 Adventure. Now, you may have questions, ki Bolu bhai, why 390 Adventure when there are other adventure motorcycles? That I will explain at the end of the video, because that itself is a big topic, but I'll explain why. Because it's not that I directly jumped on the KTM 390 Adventure, but I actually did a research. I rode a lot of motorcycles. Then I concluded why I would go for that motorcycle. Okay, so the weight is a factor. I feel the lighter the motorcycle, you are more comfortable on your journey. It makes you feel less tired. That's point number one. Owning and maintaining these expensive bikes are expensive. Bigger bikes, basically. First thing is to own. If you calculate the cost about any 400cc or 500cc motorcycle available in the market, I think the range goes between 3 to 6 lakh of cost maximum. But if you wanted to go for a bike like Africa Twin or something, at this point of time, at Bangalore, the cost is about 20 lakhs. And I think the cheapest one is about 16-17 lakh, which is the BMW GS 850. They were also expensive in the past, but somehow they have reduced the price. So now the price is quite great. And then Triumph Tiger and all, it all falls under the 20 lakh mark. And then above that you want to go, then GS 1250 costs about 28 lakhs in Bangalore. And GSA costs about like 30 lakhs. Similarly, Multistrada V4 Ace is about also 32 lakhs, like that. And plus you again have to install a lot of accessories and all. And let me also tell you about the accessories. Trust me, you buy any accessory for KTM 390 Adventure, it will be like the price is lesser. I'm not saying it is not so expensive. If you are shifting from a 100cc motorcycle, you may find the parts expensive. But the bigger adventure bikes with the similar kind of parts will cost like double or triple the cost what you have to pay for the KTM 390 Adventure. That is a fact, that all this premium motorcycle, the accessories are damn expensive. Reasons might be anything, but they are damn expensive. You go for any brand, they are really expensive. The reason can be because the number of units manufactured at a time is less. So obviously mass production is not being done. That is why they are expensive, but they are expensive. So owning, as I said, now maintaining them, accessories is one part, maintaining them is also expensive. If you calculate per kilometer cost, what happens is the major expenses you have to bear for every kilometer is your tire, your chain sprockets, if you have a chain sprocket in your bike, and top of it your regular service and your brake pads. Every brake pads, basically all bigger bike brake pads, they last for like 9 to 10,000 or 12,000 kilometers. If you are riding really well, then it may last for about like 15,000 kilometers, and the cost is more or less 10 to 12,000 rupees. If you are going for BMW brake pads, obviously it may cost about 24,000 rupees or something. It lasts little longer, but whatever it is, that's a big cost. Basically 1 rupee per kilometer you have to spend on the brake pads. So any number of kilometers you do, you have to spend based on that. Now coming on to the tires, they are really expensive. What happened during COVID, actually, it was even a task to get those tires. Now what happened, initially the tire cost for the Africa Twin was about like 22,000 rupees per set. Now they have gone to like 35,000. During COVID, it was like 40, 45. Anyone could ask any amount. If you guys remember, I didn't even change my tire. I went to Ladakh because that time I didn't have a scope to buy the tires, because there were literally you didn't have tires anywhere in the market. So I had a little bit of grip, but still I did that trip. So this is how it is expensive. Now if you compare it to the KTM 390 Adventure, you still have local brands, like you have Apollo tires, you have MRF, and you may have some other companies other than the Torrents, Metzeler, whatever is there on the bike. You still have like options to select where you will pay little lesser amount, and the lesser amount is like very less amount you can say. So similarly, every other part is expensive. If you compare the service cost, if your KTM 390 Adventure would cost about like 2,000 rupees for an adventure bike, I think the cheapest one is the Honda Africa Twin, because Honda's service parts and accessories are usually cheaper than any other bike. Still, you have to shell about 6,000-7,000 rupees. For other bikes like BMW and all, you may have to pay 10 to 15,000 rupees. So service cost is really expensive. Maintenance is really expensive, accessories are expensive, and to buy them is also expensive. What happens when you buy a motorcycle after a couple of years? If you sell them, obviously you have to lose some money as depreciation. So if you calculate every bit of it, roughly, let's say for a KTM 390 Adventure, like a motorcycle, if you're paying about like 2 rupees per kilometer, in case of a super bike, you have to end up paying 12 rupees or 13 rupees or 15 or 20 rupees per kilometer overall, considering depreciation, insurance, everything. Insurance is also very expensive. See, obviously, if you have a dream to own these motorcycles and you are ready to shell out this money, then it's okay for you. Or else, if you are dreaming about these bikes and you don't ride much, you just park it on your garage and sometimes you take it out, some breakfast rides, some weekend rides, sometimes going here and there, and you don't ride much, I think then you can just own them. The cost factor will not be a problem for you. The third point is lack of service center. This is a very big thing that you have to consider before buying any kind of motorcycle. So let's imagine we are buying a motorcycle from KTM or Bajaj or maybe Royal Enfield or Hero. At least you have got service centers across the globe. I mean, across India, everywhere you're going to find a service center. But with bigger bikes, it's really difficult. Say, for example, I had the Africa Twin, but you can't just get it serviced at any of the Honda showrooms you see in your city. No, you have to get it serviced at big wing centers. And still, I would say Honda is quite better than other service centers and other brands, because Honda now they are establishing their big wing networks, and which is almost available in every bigger cities. If you can say, like, mostly capital cities have them. But if you go for any other brand like BMW, Triumph and other places, I think very limited service centers is what you will find. So that is a big problem. What happens for small issues also, you can't get them fixed, and fixing these bikes are very, very challenging. I mean, like, you can't get them fixed at anywhere and everywhere. You have to go to the specific service centers to get them fixed. So imagine, even for a chain tight also, if you take it to a normal local mechanic, it is really difficult for them to adjust the chain sprockets, because adventure motorcycles, you have to keep adjusting the chain sprockets from time to time. Every 500 kilometers you have to lube, and every 1000 or 1500 or 2000 kilometers you have to get them a little bit adjusted, because there is a sag, so we have to get them fixed. So for every small things, you will end up going to service center and fixing them. You won't believe, last time I had to adjust the chain sprocket at Delhi, and the Delhi big wing center was like expensive. The one I had visited is expensive. I couldn't, because here I have contacts and people are very good, so small things they charge small amount, but there everything is freaking expensive. I saw that it is kind of matching to your Kawasaki and Ducati service cost. The labor cost was similar, more or less similar at Delhi. So that's what I felt. But now just understand, if you have a KTM 390 Adventure or any kind of motorcycle which is about like that 400-500 cc, it's very easy. You go to a service center, they just charge you like 200 rupees or 100 rupees to adjust the chain sprocket. That is how the service cost is. And you can find it literally everywhere. And now imagine if I had the Africa Twin, the service center would have been like your Delhi, then maybe Chandigarh, and maybe Jammu also. I don't know if they have a big wing center. So this service center, lack of service center is a big thing. If you wanted to tour around India and you wanted to explore remote parts of India, then I'm sure you have to prefer a motorcycle where you have more number of service centers, because you never know what can go wrong. Even if you have a premium motorcycle, still you can't guarantee, because after all, it's a motorcycle, it's a machine. There might be faults, there might be problems. So that is one more factor that you have to consider. Now, moving from there, so the third point is done. Now the fourth point is fuel efficiency. Of course, now a lot of people say, people who buy bigger bikes or cars, they don't worry about fuel expenses. I would say it's not just the people who buy them, but people who don't ride them. If you are riding it, I'm sure you'll always calculate your fuel expenses. Like, for example, for the Africa Twin, I used to get about like 18, 19. Sometimes if I ride faster, then I used to get about 15. But still, it is a good mileage. I think the BMW bikes also give good mileages. But if you compare it to the 400cc motorcycles, obviously the 400cc's will do better as far as the mileage is concerned. Fourth problem with the mileage only I'll discuss. It's quality of fuel. What I have seen is these motorcycles, which are cheaper motorcycles, they can literally deal with any kind of fuel you fill in them. I mean, like, if you are traveling anywhere in India and you have bad fuel also, these motorcycles kind of burns everything. They are like local. They're like locally made and made for local. That is how. I mean, they can consume any kind of fuel. If you go for this premium motorcycle, the moment you have a bad fuel somewhere, if you fill a bad fuel, you never know, of course, that if it is a good or bad fuel. You are done. The bike will start showing you a lot of errors, or a lot of you may find performance issues, and also that is also a catch. All those things do not usually happen with smaller bikes. So this was about mileage and fuel thing. So the next point is logistical challenge. So this is quite an interesting point, and I personally feel that this is something we have to consider. So if you see, in last 1.5 year or 2 year, I have done about like 35,000 or 38,000 kilometers on the Africa Twin. What I've understood is that if I have to ride from here to Ladakh, so I have to ride through Delhi, and from here to Delhi is like a work that usually jobless people do. You know what? Just simply put it on 6th gear, rev, and sit on the bike from early morning 6 to evening 6. 12 hours totally you are on the saddle, you do nothing, you don't explore anything, you just focus on the road and you keep riding and keep riding, basically keep cruising. There is absolutely no fun in doing that. Trust me, I have ridden across India so many times, and every places I have visited, I never find this interesting. I feel like, oh my god, when shall I reach Delhi? Because what happens, all the actions usually start after Delhi. So what if you start your ride from Delhi and then you reach Ladakh and all? After Delhi, you will get good patch of road till Chandigarh. Then after Chandigarh, you get the ghats. Then you cross Manali. Then you find a lot of lovely hills, green patches to ride. Those things are interesting. But what about the ride from Bangalore to Delhi? It is, man, pain in ass. Seriously, you'll never like it. And I'm sure not many people will like it. Some may, who have a lot of free time. And it takes about like 2 to 3 days for me to reach Delhi. It's about like 2,400, 2,500 kilometers. So it takes a lot of time. Now that is a pain. So alternatively, what you can do is, it's better to ship your bike from here to Delhi or Chandigarh and take a flight and then land there, and then you can ride from there. And trust me, the cost will be more or less same, because we only consider fuel expenses and hotel accommodations to reach to a destination. But you also have to consider the maintenance of the bike, your tire cost, your brake pad cost, all other wear and tear costs like your chain sprockets and everything, and your service costs. You have to calculate all that. Just imagine from here to Delhi and back, it's about 4,500 to 5,000 kilometers. After that, you have to get done your service. So that way you are spending again more. So you have to calculate everything, and plus your time. Just imagine 3 days of your time, precious time that you're wasting on highways. You are basically doing nothing, just sitting on the seat and just riding. So that is where I always consider that I have to ship my bike from here to Delhi. From Delhi, I keep riding. Then the whole riding is good. I ride for like 15 days. See, if you have more time with you, at least you can explore more. Rather spending this time, that 5-6 days you spend on the highway, you can spend on the destination. That would be really interesting, right? So it is not just because we stay in South, so we have to almost, for reaching every place, we have to ride through highways, very boring highways. So that is where I consider that I should ship my bike. And trust me, once I did ship my bike. When I went to Ladakh, I shipped actually twice I shipped my bike, bigger motorcycles, and twice I had problem. One, when I had been to Bhutan, so one way I rode, and then while returning back, I shifted from Bhubaneswar to Bangalore, and the bike was like spoiled. You might have seen that video, that VRL experience I had with Harley Davidson Street 750. Handlebar was broken, lot of scratches and lot of things. Similar experience happened when I shipped my bike from Delhi to Bangalore. Same experiences, lot of scratches and lot of the lever was broken, the knuckle guards were broken. I had to replace every bit of it to make it look good as it was. So whenever I thought of transporting these bigger bikes, I always had issues. Why? Because the bigger bikes are heavy. What happens? See how the damage usually happen with the logistic companies, that let's imagine you are sending it through VRL or something. So because these bikes are very heavy, so they are packed in a cage, and while they shift from truck to truck, like on the bigger courier centers, they have crane where those small cranes, they lift the bikes and they drop it on the truck. But when there is a change of truck, that is where manpower is used to pick those bikes and then load, unload. And that point of time, these bikes actually get this damage. And the very big reason for this is the weight. When the motorcycles are heavy, everything is complicated. When the motorcycles are light, everything is sorted. Obviously, if it is a heavy and big motorcycle, you have to also pay more for the courier charges compared to the lighter weight motorcycle. Okay, bike is damaged, that is one thing. What is the next problem? The next problem is that sourcing those spare parts take a lot of time. These motorcycle spare parts, they really take a lot of time. And sometimes you are like, you are behind the service center to get your bike fixed, but the spare part comes from a different country. It takes a lot of time. That is where, again, if you see a company like KTM, I think every other part is available at their service center. Even if it is not there, it takes about 1 or 2 days or 3 days or maximum a week. But the bigger bikes, they take months. I mean, like Viraj Bhai's this Multistrada V4S was parked at the garage for almost about 4 or 5 months. Just imagine, he bought a new bike and he had a small crash, because of which he has to replace certain parts. It took about 4 to 5 months. The bike was lying at the service center. Imagine you pay EMI for it, 25,000 or 30,000 rupees per month, and then you pay insurance and everything. And 4-5 months, you are simply parked the vehicle at the service center. So that is the issue. So basically, I wanted to say that these all things are experiences. Unless you get experiences in your life, you'll never understand what is the good or bad part of it. There are obviously good part of it that you enjoy the highways also, you enjoy long distance touring, you enjoy the power, the torque, everything, but that comes at all this big cost. So this is why I decided that no, it's not practical. So obviously, yeah, I had a dream and I rode these bikes for a couple of years. I am really happy because in life what happens, so whenever you have some dream or whenever you wanted to achieve something, you better do it. You better do it so that you will understand ki what is the ups and downs, what is the good and bad bits of it. It's always better to experience by yourself, or else it is also better that you can learn from the experiences of people like me who have already experienced and sharing our experience on platform, so like YouTube. So that is where I decided that I have to go for a smaller bike. And then as I said that when I went to Ladakh with the KTM Pro XP team, the experience was so nice. And also the group, I really like the group, and the way KTM organizes these trips are very nicely organized. Everything is sorted. I'm like, you have support, you have backup support, you have doctors, you have trainers who give you training on the go. All these things are there. And one more thing also I forgot to highlight. When you take these bikes on trails and you try to do some kind of off-roads, there are chances that parts may break. And trust me, any motorcycle owner who owns a bigger bike, they don't take much chances with the bigger bikes. They say that, yeah, if I drop the bike, the parts will take several months, so let's not do it. Let's just avoid. Let's not get into those kind of trails. That is where exactly you miss actual fun. That is what you can do on a lighter bike. Just take it. Don't just bother. Let's just take it. These were my reasons for which I thought that, okay, so एक बार experience हो गया, now let's just move to a practical bike. So that is where I picked the KTM 390 Adventure. Now, why did I pick the 390 Adventure as there were like other bikes also? So my choices were the BMW 310 GS, V-Storm 250, X-Pulse, Himalayan, and CB500X. So if you are talking about the CB500X, whatever problems I have explained with the Africa Twin, everything is there except the lightweight. And second thing was that Honda was not selling them in numbers, so that was out of the list. Then the next bike is the Himalayan, Royal Enfield Himalayan. The present version I didn't want to own because still there are a lot of issues with Royal Enfield motorcycles. Maybe in the future if they have a better motorcycle we can think of it, but as of now I thought no, they are not so much reliable. So personally I didn't like them. Then next comes the V-Storm 250. I felt it is quite underpowered. So I thought basically on highways you may get bored. So I thought that's not an ideal bike. 310 GS, even the same thing. There are refinement issues. I mean, engine is not so punchy and all. It's okay, but on highways and all, you may again get bored with that bike. X-Pulse, obviously, I can't ride because X-Pulse on a highway, you literally cry because for off-roads it's good, but for highways it is not done. Maybe in future if they have a bigger motorcycle, then we may think of it. But then I came to the 390 Adventure and then everything was sorted. Only issues that I thought of was about the low-end torque and I was feeling. But then as I said, when I was in Ladakh, I never had one single stall. So basically the motorcycle was doing an excellent job. So I thought that this is the motorcycle that I have to go for. But still what I thought, let's take an opinion from public. So what I did was I posted a poll at my community page on YouTube, and I'll just share a screenshot if it is there. Then I saw that I think the major part of the audience wanted me to buy this bike, KTM 390 Adventure, maybe because they own them or maybe because they also have experienced similar kind of thing, similar kind of confusion they had and they selected the 390 Adventure. Then I decided it's done now, so let's buy it. Then yeah, of course, the supply was a problem, so I booked it right after that poll, but then I took the delivery at around December. So that is how finally I ended up owning a 390 Adventure. Now what has happened is, now I'm going to explore and I'm going to create a lot of memories, a lot of travel memories, a lot of adventure memories. By the way, I have decided also to take a course from Nelly where I will be learning advanced off-roading. Because what happens in life, you always have to learn different things. You have to keep learning. Because on the Africa Twin, it was a heavy bike. I was not really attempting to take them to difficult. I was taking to trails, but obviously not to off-road parks and all. Because I was also scared if I drop the bike. First is the part issue, and second is it's a heavy bike. I don't know if I drops, what happens if it falls on my leg or what will happen. So that way I'm really confident with the 390 Adventure, and I have done a couple of trips on my motorcycle and really loving it. Every moment I'm enjoying, and literally you won't believe when I see my friends riding these heavy bikes and then on difficult terrains they are finding it difficult. I literally feel so happy that I have done a good job, and I'm sure a lot of other friends in the near future, they will also understand, and maybe they will have a bigger adventure bike, and also they may also have a smaller adventure bike to have more adventure. So basically, bigger adventure bikes you will only do touring, and smaller adventure bikes you will do a real adventure. That's all about it, friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. उम्मीद करता हूँ कि वीडियो आप लोगों को अच्छा लगा होगा. अगर वीडियो अच्छा लगा तो एक थम्स अप दे दीजिए. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments about the KTM 390 adventure or about this whole journey, do let me know in the comment section of the video. I'll try to answer them. 2-3 days back, I had posted a picture on my community page asking that I know the KTM 390 adventure has a tall seating, and I know that a lot of people are scared of riding tall motorcycles, but just understand I am also 5.3. I am 5.3. I'm sure you are taller than me. If I could ride it so nicely, you can also ride it nicely. So for that, I am thinking of creating a dedicated video where I'll make you understand if you are short and you wanted to ride a tall adventure motorcycle, so what all things I do, or how do I take care of problems while dealing with a taller bike. So I'm going to create a video on that, a dedicated video. So I hope that video is going to help you. So definitely stay tuned to the channel and subscribe to the channel. So bye bye guys, take care. This is a longer video, but I'm sure this is an insightful video that is going to help you in deciding onto a motorcycle, especially on a adventure motorcycle.